Ladies and gentlemen, the public hearings for impeachment have begun. It's not going to matter. They're going to impeach Trump for a phone conversation that even the president of the Ukraine states categorically he was not pressured from. The entire impeachment is that, he utilized his position as his presidential authority to go after his political opponent. Nobody believes that Joe Biden is even a viable candidate. In 2017, I wrote in the Huffington Post, Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. How do you think I was able to know this? Because nobody from Biden to Bill de Blasio and Warren and Bernie in between have a chance. So the notion that he was going after his political opponent and utilizing the United States government, that's what they did to him. With the Steele dossier that Comey used, and Strzok and McCabe and Clapper, and they all used. But the issue here is very simple. Voters in swing states don't care. Not only do not care, most Americans are not going to change their viewpoint of President Trump. But this is the New York Times. What our poll shows about impeachment views in 6 swing states. This is a couple weeks ago. Of course, I go use my phone. But if you look, the inquiry into President Trump, barely 50% support an inquiry, 45% oppose an inquiry. But impeaching and removing the president, 53% oppose. In Michigan, Pennsylvania, Florida, North Carolina, Wisconsin, and Arizona. Now, I don't consider Arizona or North Carolina swing states. I don't, because they're going to go red. So they're red states. But Florida, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, Democrats must win. They do not want to remove the president. 53% of Americans in those states, in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Florida, North Carolina, Wisconsin, and Arizona, do not want the president to be removed. Now, and only 43% are in favor of impeachment and removal. You have to take these poll numbers with a grain of salt, ladies and gentlemen. You can't simply look at these poll numbers and say, okay. But still you have 43%, 53%, yeah, but you have nonstop coverage undermining Trump. That's it. Their lives depend on nonstop coverage undermining President Trump, trying to denigrate, trying to basically serve as an extension of the Democratic Party. Why do you think that Brennan and Clapper and Comey and Strzok and McCabe get published in the Washington Post and the New York Times and they're on MSNBC and CNN as analysts? Why do you think that takes place? Do you think that's just because they're on the side of justice? Really? No, they're not. It is a political machine, and it's a political machine that's losing influence. The president, Trump should never have won. He had Comey, and he had MSNBC and CNN and the Washington Post and the New York Times and Hollywood all against him. He should never have won. Do you understand? There's no, if you look at things from a rational perspective, look who he went up against. He was called every name in the book. They accused him of working with Russia, which is nonsense. And the Mueller probe found it's complete and utter nonsense. And then Democrats say, the evidence wasn't sufficient. No, there was no evidence. The evidence was more than sufficient to charge Clinton, which he should have been charged. And there would have been a Bernie Sanders presidency, I believe. But thank God Trump won. Because Trump doesn't care about all the foreign policy experts who have been wrong for 16 years under President Bush and President Obama's administrations. He wants to scale back U.S. foreign policy. That is the main reason. I voted for Bernie, and now I'm voting for President Trump. And President Trump won't be deterred or intimidated. Bernie couldn't even defeat what? He can't even utter the words that he was cheated. And then when President Trump's withdrawing Americans, Bernie had the audacity to say, well, we have to have an orderly withdrawal. But most people in swing states do not want the removal of the president. First of all, the whole thing's absurd anyway. It's a phone conversation where the assumption is the word though, and an ellipsis, and his tone of voice or whatever. Then they have public hearings today. Oh, well, this diplomat said that Trump wanted to use his political influence. This is someone's opinion. You have no proof or evidence. And furthermore, they've completely ignored the conflicts of interest from Joe Biden, which are these conflicts of interest are documented, ladies and gentlemen, documented, absolutely documented by Kenneth Vogel of the New York Times, by James Risen of the New York Times before he wrote his Intercept article, by John Solomon of The Hill. Both John Solomon and Kenneth Vogel have been disparaged by people who are desperate, absolutely positively desperate, to keep this kind of charade alive. They have to keep this kind of charade alive. They have to keep this, oh, Trump is so corrupt. Look at how many investigations there are. Well, if you have New York prosecutors and judges serving as extensions of the Democratic Party, where were these people when $10 billion was raised for the people of Haiti, and the people of Haiti never got them from subsidiaries of the Clinton Foundation? I interviewed Daddy Cherry, Haitian-born journalist. She is below. Well, she is in the pinned comment. The article is below. My interview with Daddy Cherry, brilliant journalist, regarding the $10 billion raised in Haiti is below in the pinned comment. What happened to that money? What happened to that money? Why did Uranium One officials give money to the Clinton Foundation? Why did Vladimir Putin meet with Bill Clinton? So you have this notion that, well, you're bringing this up. Oh my God, it's a waste of time. You're barking up the wrong tree. Everything's been debunked. Everything's conspiratorial. If you even ask simple questions like, why did people use the Clinton Foundation as a conduit? You have weapons deals from countries that gave money. You have UBS that gave money that had problems with the IRS. You had Boeing, who lobbied for a $3 billion trade a deal with Boeing in Russia. They have more ties to Russia than Tulsi Gabbard could ever imagine. Tulsi Gabbard has zero ties to Russia. What they say is Tulsi Gabbard's foreign policy helps Putin. Well, they came into the presidency with a different foreign policy than Bush. They came in with a Russian reset. They're the ones who made a mockery of the intelligence community with servers that stored top secret intelligence that were hacked by the planet. But see, you can't expect the Bill Maher Democrats, the Hollywood liberals. You can't expect the people who vote Democrat because climate change is going to end humanity. And meanwhile, when President Obama's in office, they preside over the largest expansion of domestic oil and gas production. And then people say, well, what does it matter? It's still an important issue. Well, it matters because it's called hypocrisy. You only care and you only say, the sky is falling when you're no longer you're no longer in the executive branch. That's the issue. The issue is that they're hypocrites, but they've erased the meaning of hypocrisy. They don't even know what it is anymore. They don't care. So swing state voters do not want to remove the president. That's bad for 2020. Clinton is obviously going to run. Clinton is obviously going to become Democratic nominee. Clinton is obviously going to lose. The Democratic Party is obviously going to be completely obliterated. Tell me how that's relevant to any of this. They don't care. It's a political machine run on graft. They don't care. Who is going to raise the money? When all those politicians needed money during the midterms, they went to Hillary Clinton. Biden is losing money now. And all of them, including AOC and Bernie, will back Hillary Clinton. They don't have, look, they're not trying to win. They're trying to win with Clinton, which is impossible. They are not trying to win. They are not saying, Trump is so horrible. They're saying that all this hyperbole, he's damaging democracy. No, you're doing this. They're doing the same thing the Bush administration did. Hyperbole, conjecture, talking about grandiose issues of, affront to democracy, our republic, a constitution. They're the ones ripping all of that up. They're the ones who get away with everything and then set up and frame Trump, utilizing the United States government. But then they go against the United States government when it doesn't suit them. Well, Trump used the government to his advantage. You don't think President Obama used the government to hit? You don't think Hillary Clinton used the government to her advantage? You don't think President Obama was lying to everyone when he said, I didn't know my own Secretary of State had private servers? Of course. You don't think Attorney General Loretta Lynch meeting with Bill Clinton to speak about golf, Brexit, and grandchildren, and then you still have people saying the Justice Department was always autonomous? These people are the biggest hypocrites. It's so easy to see through them. There is no sanity left. It's not, they don't run, look, their lives, and Clinton's going to take down Twitter and social media too, which is hilarious. Their lives revolve around an addiction to social media. They spend hours a day on Facebook and Twitter. Conservatives generally don't. Trump supporters generally don't. No. Liberals who are like infatuated with politics and can't stand Trump and have contempt for Trump like you cannot believe. Yes, they're obsessed. They are absolutely obsessed with social media. And they're obsessed with the likes and the retweets, and they're obsessed with so they've done away with any semblance of God or religion or whatever. So their whole thing is they worship at the altar of retweets and Facebook likes, and getting into arguments with friends. It can be lifelong friends and family, and they'll get into arguments. They don't care anymore. They just want to win. And they're not looking at swing states because they've pretended already. They've convinced themselves the Electoral College doesn't matter. But here's the little news flash for them. They might not even win they'll probably win the popular vote just by the sheer volume of peer pressure and the sheer volume of maniacal media coverage. They'll probably win the popular vote, but Clinton might just barely get the popular vote, or even there's a small chance she might lose the popular vote. People are not going to be motivated. Liberals are not motivated by fear or anger or contempt for Trump. They're not. You're going to have people say Clinton again. She's going to be nominee. Any notion that Bernie, who they cheat, this is something I don't get about Bernie Sanders supporters, many of whom don't like me, because I was right and because I stated that Bernie should have spoken about the fact that his opponent was a criminal. But anyway, even James Comey said she committed crimes, and then he's like, but no reasonable prosecutor. It's not for him to say what a reasonable prosecutor was. Also, Peter Strzok never found out how she transferred top secret intelligence onto servers. But anyway, the point is, swing state voters are not going to vote for Clinton. I mean, they won't, but they're not going to vote for Clinton, Democrats, and they don't care about impeachment. They don't want to remove the president. The president did nothing wrong. He had every right, number one, to ask another country to look into the possible criminal behavior of a Democrat. The notion that he was Trump's direct political rival is absurd. He's losing money. Nobody believes Biden has a viable campaign. So Trump is supposed to believe that, but nobody on the left, absolutely nobody, thinks that Biden will become Democratic nominee on the left. They say it because they have to live a fantasy. They must live a fantasy, because what are they going to become, H.A. Badman? They cannot. They must believe that all is well, and that, they're just, they must believe that they're living, a normal life when it comes to free will. They have to believe that, well, it's a Democratic primary. Anything can happen. Who knows? Yada yada. It's all set up. The whole thing is, the entire process is a sham and a theatrical performance. Give me your thoughts below. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. Tell your friends about H.A. Goodman's other channel. Both channels, this, my main channel, and H.A. Goodman's other channel, and my writing. You're going to see that I have been right for 3 years now, since the beginning of 2017. Clinton's running. She will lose. And it's going to be irrelevant. She'll run again in 2024. Give me your thoughts below. Tell everyone that H.A. Goodman not only accurately predicted Clinton running in 2020, but also will accurately predict Clinton running in 2024. Give me your thoughts. Thank you.